Hello everybody and welcome to Health Aspire Cottage Pie Cook Along. Today we're going to be making a cottage pie that feeds around 4 and it's going to cost no more than about £5, which is amazing value. We're going to be padding out the cottage pie with some green lentils in the beef mixture, so it will just show how you can pad out those meals for the sake of about 45 pence. And we're also going to be using a root vegetable topping just to give even more vitamins and goodness into your dish. We're going to start by chopping our vegetables. So I'm going to talk through, make sure you've got everything ready, and then we're going to prepare the vegetables. So you need your carrots, parsnips and swede for this stage. You need a sharp knife. If you're doing this with a parent, make sure they're helping you. And you need a vegetable peeler. So you're going to get your carrot, you're going to hold it at this end, and you're going to peel it long ways down. So if you've got a nice sharp vegetable peeler, it really will help you. So you're going to keep going with all of your carrots before we top and tail them. So just get all the skin off. So the vitamin C lives just under here, just under the skin. So this is why you want a nice thin peeler, and your body's going to be able to absorb that vitamin C, which is really good for our immune system, bodies, and good health. So I'm going to let you carry on peeling your carrots. As you can see, I've done mine. So if you peel yours, and then I'll show you how to chop them. So if you take 3 carrots together, so it just means it's a bit quicker, and line them up to your knife. And you're going to chop off the ends, turn them, line them up with the knife and take off the top. So it's just called top and tailing your carrots. And then you can repeat then. So these ones are a bit bigger, so I'm just doing 2, top and tail. I've got a little dog who would love now to eat these carrot ends, so I'll have to save them for her. So just like that. And then you're going to chop your carrots. So about the same size because we want them to cook all at the same time. So do 2 or 3 at once. It just means it's a lot quicker. So we've got our parsnips here, so we're going to do the same thing. So just peel them nice and long. Always peel them before you take the top and the tail off, because otherwise you're sort of wasting parsnips, and it means you can get right to the edge, so you can turn it around and you can do that and that bit as well. And again, then we're going to top and tail them. So chop through them. Carrots and parsnips work really well together. So these are root vegetables, vegetables that grow in the ground in soil, and that's why they're really good for us, because there's lots of goodness in the soil that will go into the vegetables, and lots of minerals. So we're going to do these ones. If I'm going a bit too fast, feel free to pause at any time and finish chopping up your vegetables so that you can keep in time. So like that. So this is a swede. This is again another root vegetable. They are quite hard, so you might need a bit of help with this if you're doing this on your own. So first of all, put the knife in the middle and chop down. It is quite hard though, so you might need a bit of a help. This is a big swede though. So bring your knife out and then go back then the other side where you went in, and it'll be much easier. You could peel this with a vegetable peeler, but I find it a bit easier to cut off the skin just because of the shape of it. So you can just start by cutting off here. I did actually see a really interesting way of mashing a swede in a microwave. So you literally put the whole thing in the microwave with the skin on for about 10 minutes, pop it in a bowl just to bring the water into the bowl. Leave it in there for 10 minutes. When it comes out, chop the top off, mash it up, and you've got instant swede. So you can see I've just taken that off there. So do the same with this one as well. So it's quite a good idea to have a little bin next to you. So just use a bowl or something, and then you can put your vegetable peelings in there, so you're sort of keeping your area nice and clean then. So we get rid of those, and then we're going to chop up our swede. Again, it is quite hard, so just be careful that you're not going to hurt yourself, or obviously you can get somebody to help you if you're younger doing this. So I've cut it into pieces, and I've cut it into 3, and then we're going to just put it into cubes and then pop it into there. So we're going for about the same size really as the carrots and parsnips, just so they cook all at the same time. Okay, so if you want to boil the kettle, so fill the kettle right up, pop it on to boil, and then we're going to use the heat of that water just to speed things up when we're making our mash. So if you go and do that now, and then you can come back ready to do our vegetables. So we've got all our vegetables in here. You want quite a big pan, and you're going to just pour over the boiling water just to cover really the vegetables. So it's probably going to be most of the kettle, so kind of like that. And then we're going to put it on to boil for about 20 minutes on a medium heat. It'll cook quicker if you've got a lid as well, so that will help you. So we're going to make our filling now for the cottage pie. We're going to be using the beef mince, the onion, and then our tin of green lentils. We also need some olive oil, and then you need your pan to be on about a medium heat. So if you pop your pan on now, ideally quite a big non-stick pan would be helpful, and then a little bit of olive oil will go in first. So about a tablespoon's worth, and we're just going to leave that warm through while we prepare our onion. So we've got an onion here. You'll either be having a small onion or half an onion. This one's been cut in half long ways, so we've still got this bit on the end, and it just helps to keep the onion together. So you're going to top and tail it again, and I'm going to take off this bit. So this is just the peel and the skin of the onion. Hopefully you won't all be crying like me. So we've got the onion like that. So we're just going to chop so quite finely through. So this is what you can really practice on, is getting it as finely as you can. So we've got our lines now going that way, so we're going to go the other way. So like this. It does help if you've got a sharp knife, so ideally try and sharpen your knife before you cook, and if somebody's helping you, that's better as well, just to watch your hands. So if you didn't manage to chop it up finely when you started, just keep going back through, bring it all together, go back through it, and you'll make it even finer. So once you're happy with the onion, we're going to start by frying it off. So we're going to pop our onion in. You'll hear it starting to sizzle, that's good. It means the oil is nice and warm. And then we're just going to fry it off for a few minutes, just to cook it through until it's sort of translucent, like see-through, and maybe a little bit brown. So I'm just going to stir this through. Make sure the oil is evenly coating the onions. So this stage will take about 3 minutes. You don't have to stir the whole time, but just keep an eye on it to make sure they don't stick and burn. You can always turn it a little bit lower if you're nervous that it's going to burn. If you think they're sticking, you can add a little bit more olive oil, but they should take around 3 minutes. So the onion should be ready now, and we're going to add the next bit. So we've got our minced beef here, so you can just pop that straight in the pan. And you're going to just use the fork, no, you're going to use the spoon to break it up. So just mash it up. You can turn your heat up a little bit here, it'll help you, just cook it a bit quicker. But obviously we're looking for all this to kind of be broken up. The gravy will help us do that as well. So just mash it up. And then we're looking for it to be sort of cooked through like a golden brown. It will go in the oven as well later, so it will be cooked again. So if you get yourself a jug or even a cup, and then we're going to pop the beef stock cubes in here. So you can use these little stock pots or a beef stock cube, the same sort of thing. Or if you haven't got that, you could use some gravy, just some gravy granules. And then be about 300 ml of water. You can use the boiling water and just stir it through, just to help the stock cube just start to disintegrate a little bit. It will disintegrate in the pan as well, so don't worry if there's still a few lumps left. And then we're just going to pour this into the pan. And then we're going to make sure that our stock cubes are disintegrated, and they're going to make a nice sauce. So because you've put the corn flour in here now, you're going to start to feel that this will thicken up nicely, make like a lovely gravy to cook the beef and the lentils in. So you can turn your heat up a little bit if you want to, and then it's just going to help thicken it up a little bit. But if you leave that to sort of simmer for a couple of minutes, it'll naturally start to thicken up, and we can then pop it in the Pyrex dish ready to go in the oven with the mash. So the vegetables are ready. To tell that they're ready when they're boiling, just put a knife in them, and if they're soft, then that's good. Take about 20 minutes and then drain them in a colander over the sink, and then we're just going to mash them up. So you can use a potato masher and then mash them thoroughly. Doesn't matter if you've got chunky bits, it adds to the texture. So in here we've got carrots, which are known for helping you see in the dark, so that's the vitamin A that helps you there. You've got swede, which is also rich in vitamin C, so that's good for the immune system, so that helps us fight cold and feel well. And then we've got parsnips, again a really good root vegetable, so full of minerals. So you can just see where I'm at now, so keep going, think of it as exercise. So we're just going to season this now with a bit of salt and pepper. You could put a little bit of butter in here, but we're going to use some cheese on the top, so if you haven't got any butter, don't worry. So just mix that through. And then we're going to be ready to build our cottage pie, so I'll talk you through that next. So we're going to prepare our leek, which is going to go on the top of the cottage pie, and then we're going to build it. So if you take off the top, so again, top and tail, take off the bottom, the tail, and then with the leek, they can have a bit of soil hidden. So when the leek grows, it grows in the ground like this, and it sort of gets bigger and bigger, but it grows in the soil. So sometimes you might need to wash it. So you can see a bit of soil in there. That's an outer layer, so we'll take that away. But just be careful, so have a look, and you can always give it a wash under the tap. So we're going to just cut these through. The leek's quite nice to cut, it's quite soft. So just little thin pieces. This is going to give a lovely cheesy leek topping on the cottage pie. So we've got those there. So you're going to need a Pyrex dish, quite a large one. If you haven't got a Pyrex dish, you could just use an oven tray, something like that. And then we're going to pop the bottom of our cottage pie in here, so the base there. So you can see the mince thickened up nicely, so just pop that in there. So this is easily going to feed a family of 4 for literally around £5, which is great value. So flatten that like that. And then we're going to pop our mash on, and we're going to need a tablespoon to do this. So if you get a tablespoon, and then I'll show you what to do. So you've got your mash, you've got your tablespoon. Here's a trick to show you how to not kind of get it, if you put it all in the middle, all the sides will seep out. So this is the little trick to stop that happening. So get about a tablespoon's worth, a heaped one, We're going to go round and round. So you want to fill all your edges. Looks so pretty. Like this. So you've gone round here. So now we're just going to fill the middle gap. Like this. So if you're it's overfilling, just be careful so you don't have to put as much mash on. You could sort of serve the mash on the side if you've got extra mash. So we're going to get a fork, just pat that down. So now we're just going to finish it with some leeks on the top, so it makes it have a lovely flavour with the cheese. So just sort of break them up like this and then fill the top. So leeks are in the onion family, so they have an onion sort of taste. They're not as strong as onions. So we've got sort of onions in the bottom and we've got the leeks on the top. So just use those like that. And then the cheese is going to go on the top, and that's going to sort of help cook them, make a little lid for them to cook in, like so. So we're going to put the cheese on next. You can use cheddar cheese, any cheese really, but it just really gives a lovely flavour. So make sure you're covering all the leeks, because it's going to create a lid and that's going to help them cook through. Like that. A bit more pepper. Little bit of salt. You don't need a lot because cheese is quite salty. Now it's good to go in the oven. So this is going to go in the oven for about half an hour and then it'll be ready to serve. So here we have our cook-along cottage pie to feed at least a family of 4 for around £5, which is an absolute bargain. If you want to make this vegetarian, you would just use the green lentils instead of the beef mince, and then it would be completely vegetarian too. And if you wanted to make it vegan, you could leave the cheese off and use the lentils. So you've got a few options with this. It also freezes for 3 months, so if you don't eat it all, you can pop some in the freezer and reheat it up again. But I hope you enjoy it. Serve this with extra vegetables if you wish. Well done there, you've made your first cottage pie.